Behold, the Super Mashed Potato Man!
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Vault. You know, just like most children, I like drawing and painting just as much as playing with toys and watching cartoons. And of course, I like playing with other kids. I met my friend Mike in the first half of 1981 when I was 7 and he was 10. Mike liked to draw as well, and he showed me that you could do more than just copy what you saw and color within the lines. He took out his Tom and Jerry coloring book and showed me to do more than just color in it, but to take the black crayon and to draw more things on the page. Well, I was pretty amazed by this. To realize that a kid could alter the narrative of a printed story by creating elements that hadn't existed in it before. But it didn't stop there. No, he created comic strips of his own character. His name was Ponce Flea Leon, and he was a swashbuckling flea that would leap off the back of his home on a dog's back and jump down the garbage disposal in search of adventure. I tried redesigning him myself many times over the years. And that summer, something happened that would change me forever. A commercial started playing for a new movie called Clash of the Titans, and it struck me as something that I would love. And that's when Mike came over to my house with a piece of paper. He'd apparently just seen the movie in the theater, raced home, and fully illustrated the penultimate scene in colored pencil. It was so well drawn, with such an advanced level of technical proficiency, that I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I didn't know that a kid like me could do something like that. I decided right then that I needed to be an artist. As the years went on, Mike showed me that with this, Mighty Men and the Monster Maker, you could create your own original comic book style characters by using different elements of the different characters, such as the head from one, the arms and torso of another, and the legs of yet another. In 1985, the deluxe edition of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe was released, and Mike would use this mix and match method to create his own unique superheroes. We had been playing Dungeons and Dragons for a few years at that point, and we were branching out into other role-playing games as well, including one called the Marvel Superheroes. And Mike would take elements of Moon Knight and Mr. Fantastic to illustrate my own character, Mesmeron. I've attempted redesigns of him as well. We also played the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing game, which was actually the very first licensed product from the, as of then, less than a year-old comic book. This was long before it became the child-sanitized, gigantic merchandising bonanza. Mike drew and named my character Steel Grip Clucky, a chicken man with a bag of gags like hot pepper gum, X-ray glasses, and exploding cigarettes. I tried my hand at drawing him back then as well, and again years later. It was fun to later on learn some of the design concepts that went into this character, such as the bullet hole in the smiley face on his shirt, which came from The Watchmen. And his name and his look came from Steel Grip Starkey. In the summer before high school, I would move to a new town and meet my friend Sean in 1988, who also happened to be 3 years older than me. And he too had an older friend when he was younger that would expose him to things like role-playing games and comic books and drawing. Sean and I would draw throughout high school and a few years after graduation as well. But that was a long time ago. From time to time, I would draw a webcomic called Kevin's World, which starred myself and Sean and many of my friends and family. But it was the discovery by a mutual friend of ours of this long-forgotten stash of artwork that resulted in Sean and I becoming superheroes. In 1993, Sean created a whole pile of new superheroes that neither one of us remembered him ever doing, and he gave them all away. But this collection was brought to me 20 years later, and I would create a comic series about them. To me, this kind of an archaeological find was like being hit by a lightning bolt of inspiration. Sean, on the other hand, was horrified by how badly he felt the art was. That's why when I asked him if he remembered the name of my favorite of these characters, he sarcastically responded to the lumpiness of his anatomy by saying, well, clearly his name is Super Mashed Potato Man. But I would redraw this character again and again. Then I put his costume on cartoon versions of myself and Sean. I created an origin story and half a dozen comic book pages about it. Then eventually I would create an ongoing webcomic series about them, wherein I brought back many of Sean's old characters. As well as some of mine. Hey, there's Mesmeron! And I even threw in characters from the Mighty Men in the Monster Maker set. You know, being creative, making art and stories, and even videos like this, can be pretty fun and quite fulfilling. But nothing compares to collaborating with somebody else who's creative and inspires you. I'll see you next time. It was this ping, yeah, like the way I did it the first time.